The War Council trembles. The great empires convened. No laughter now. Generals bent over holographic tables, trying to analyze what they had seen. Scholars scoured the legends again, seeking any clue about Terran tactics. Spymasters whispered of a species that fought not for territory but survival, species who turned extinction itself into a weapon. One phrase appeared again and again in the archives, a phrase too unbelievable to accept until now. One human warship was enough. Enough to hold back fleets, enough to end wars, enough to scar memory itself. The council chamber, once filled with arrogance, now stank of fear. If one ship had survived, how many more lurked beyond the void? If this was merely a scout, what would follow? Admiral Vale slammed his claws against the table. It is a myth, a coincidence. This ship cannot be human. Yet his voice cracked when he said it. Because everyone in the chamber had seen the black silhouette. Everyone had heard the silence of a fleet erased. And everyone knew the truth. No other species built ships like that. No other species fought like that. The return of the forgotten. The warship did not hide. It crossed star systems with deliberate purpose, ignoring attempts at parley. Probes sent to intercept were incinerated. Fleets assembled to surround it broke against its guns like waves against stone. And yet, it never attacked planets, never struck civilians. It chose its battles carefully, surgically, as though every move was guided by a memory older than the empires themselves. Some began to whisper that it wasn't a machine of war, but a messenger, that it had come not to conquer, but to remind. Remind the galaxy of a truth it had buried. That humans were not myths. That they had never truly died. And that one ship alone, was enough to prove every legend true. The chamber of the Velthari High Conclave shimmered with banners of gold and silver, their fractal insignias rippling like liquid fire. Every race represented in that room considered itself old, older than empires, older than wars, older even than many of the stars they orbited. They sat in tiers, their jeweled crests and segmented carapaces gleaming under crystalline light. Voices echoed through the air, layered with authority and mockery. The subject was not trade, not treaties, not war with a rival coalition. It was myth. Humans, hissed Prelek Ver, a scholar from the Zeth Dominion, his 6 tendrils curling in amusement. The word itself is a superstition. Every archive places them as remnants of pre-expansion folklore. They are stories told to frighten young spawn from straying into radiation storms. The chamber laughed, a thunderous, rolling chorus of claws against stone, metallic plates striking the ground, wings fluttering like storm winds. A dignitary from the Sarathi enclaves raised her crest and added, "Legends claim these humans were architects of destruction. Supposedly, they built warships that could level entire sectors, machines of myth, powered by arrogance. And yet, where are they now? Nothing but silence. Nothing but fading echoes." The chamber erupted again in derision. It was an old ritual. Every century or so, one delegate would raise the question of the human problem, whether they ever truly existed. It was less a debate and more a comedy performance, a stage upon which the galaxy proved its superiority to dead myths. Some still whisper they were gods, a senator intoned mockingly. But if gods existed, surely we would have seen them by now. The assembly laughed harder. "Then let it be settled once more," concluded Chancellor Drevek, pounding his taloned fist upon the crystalline dais. "Humans are fantasy, they are nothing, and legends cannot hurt us." No one in that room believed otherwise. No one dared imagine the silence between stars was watching them back. The phantom signal. The laughter had not yet faded from the grand chamber when the first anomaly appeared. In the Zoric's fringe, 300 light-years from the conclave, scanners aboard a routine patrol vessel caught a ripple across deep space frequencies. It was faint, a broken code sequence unlike any known encryption. Captain Erith Nail of the patrol ship Varen leaned over the console, her mandibles clicking in annoyance. "Ghost data again," she muttered. Her science officer adjusted crystalline arrays, expanding the signal feed. "Not ghost data, Captain. This is structured. There's a repeating lattice beneath the distortion. It almost resembles—" He hesitated. "What?" Nail snapped. "Ancient human encryption patterns." The bridge went silent. For a moment, the crew stared at him as though he had uttered a curse. Then the laughter came, the same kind that had filled the conclave chamber. "Humans," the weapons officer sneered. "You've been reading too many myths." "Ghost code," another chimed in. "We've seen it 1,000 times. Radiation reflections, old war debris, nothing more." And yet the signal persisted, stronger, clearer with each pulse. It carried rhythm, purpose, almost like a heartbeat in the void. Captain Nail frowned. She ordered the ship to triangulate the source. The data came back impossibly strange. A single origin point beyond the shadow of a dying star, hidden in the expanse where no empire dared patrol. Against better judgment, Nail gave the order. "Set course. We'll end this joke once and for all." The Varen jumped into the void, its crew convinced they were chasing a shadow. Archives of ash and fear. Back in the conclave, the news of the phantom signal spread like wildfire. Officials dismissed it as coincidence. Yet, beneath layers of politics, archivists and scholars dug deeper. The oldest records, etched in quantum stone long before many empires walked the stars, told stories that had always been brushed aside. Stories of Terra. Stories of a species that emerged late in galactic history, yet burned too brightly, too fiercely, too violently. The texts described them as fragile creatures of flesh, short-lived and reckless, yet guided by a will that bent reality itself. Unlike other civilizations, they had not feared the void. They had embraced it. They had leapt from one dying world to another, clawing their way across space with ships of steel and fire, not grown from living crystal or nurtured in energy fields, but forged. And with those forges came war. One passage, so old its origin had been lost, described a single Terran warship entering a battlefield against 20 fleets. By the time it departed, nothing remained but wreckage. Exaggeration, the conclave always ruled. Ancient propaganda, a tale to inspire lesser species. But the phantom signal, its lattice matched those same records exactly. Word spread in hushed tones, and though they laughed in public, many began to whisper in private. What if the myths had not died? What if the humans had only been waiting? The shadow behind the star. The Varen emerged from hyperslip near the dying star. Its surface writhed with crimson flares, belching plasma storms across the system. No world orbited it. No stations, no colonies, no markers of civilization. And yet something was there. Uncharted mass detected, the navigator said, her voice cracked. Large, too large for natural debris. The viewscreen darkened as filters aligned, cutting through the blinding corona. And then they saw it. A silhouette. At first it looked like an asteroid, jagged, motionless, half-buried in shadow. But as the storm light flickered across its hull, geometry revealed itself. Straight lines, angles of design, structures not carved by nature but assembled by intelligence. A ship. But not like any the galaxy had known. It bore no flowing curves of Velthari craft, no organic symmetry of Sarathi bioships. It was brutalist, armored, dark. Its lines were sharp as blades, its mass eclipsing their own vessel tenfold. Ancient scars marred its hull, blackened streaks where unimaginable weapons had once struck and failed to kill it. The crew stared in silence. "By the void," whispered Captain Nail. The phantom signal pulsed again, louder now, vibrating through the Varen's hull. It was not random. It was a beacon, a call.